All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. What I am going to talk to you guys about first is the fact that some of your guys' grades might have gone down a little bit this morning. Did anybody notice that? All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Did anybody notice their grades going down a little bit? Okay. Here's what happened. So because right now I teach 4 world literature classes and 1 yearbook class. 2 of those world literature classes are being taught by my student teacher. So really, I'm mostly teaching the 2 world literature. So you guys in 5th period, which is why I only refer to you guys mostly because she's doing my 3rd and 6th period. So I have about 60 something students in both classes. So that's about how many students I have. So I was uploading the video to Canvas from the Tuesday class meeting, and I noticed that I only had like 37 subscribers when I should have 60 something. Like I said, I'm not trying to get like a ton of subscribers. I just want you guys to be subscribers because that way you guys get my videos, which can involve tutorials. It could involve how to do different things for the class. It could walk you through some writing. So I want you guys to get those videos automatically. Same with the podcast. That's why I want you guys subscribed. So I was at like 60 something people subscribed. Now I'm down to like 37. So a bunch of people unsubscribed. And unfortunately, there's no way for me to tell who that is. So I had to take all the extra credit away. So what I need you guys to do is on Canvas, if you guys need to take another screenshot. And again, if I don't see the numbers going back up to that 60 range, then again, I'm not going to give the extra credit back. So again, you guys need to resubmit if you want credit. If you don't resubmit, you won't get extra credit. So, and it needs to be like from today. So it can't just be the same screenshot because obviously if the numbers don't go up, I know that we're not doing it. Like I said, I'm not looking for a bunch of numbers beyond my class. I just want you guys to be subscribed so that way you guys can get the videos and get the podcast. Because for like the podcast, it's related to what we're going to be doing in class. So rather than giving you guys like an hour worth of writing homework, I gave you guys 10 minutes of a podcast to listen to. And again, unfortunately, there was a lot of people who didn't listen to it because I was kind of keeping track on how many people have been playing the episode. So unfortunately, again, I'm trying to give you guys less homework. And in order for me to do that, I need you guys to do the small little bit that I ask you guys to do. All you got to do is listen to 10 minutes. I will put it in the chat for everybody again. I had put it before, but again, you guys need to stay subscribed because again, if you unsubscribe, then you're not going to get the information that you might need for class anymore. So again, you do need to stay up to date in that regard. So that way you guys get it. There will be a podcast every week to listen to, and they will range from 10 to 20 minutes. Obviously, so like the next episode for next week, this week's was 10 minutes, next week is 20 minutes, but I'm going to give it to you guys on Monday, so that way you guys have an extra day to listen to it. But so here, the first one, here's the link to the YouTube channel. Hold on a second. Let me just delete that. There we go. Okay. And then okay. So I moved the assignment called subscribe to this week's module. So if you go to this week's module, you should be able to do it. And again, I don't want you guys to send the pictures to me on Remind. Again, resubmit them to Canvas. Because again, that's just easier if everything's all in the same place. So please just resubmit the screenshots to Canvas of, again, you need 2 screenshots, one for the podcast and one for the YouTube channel. All right. So let's see how many people, I'm going to make the public chat, how many people listen to the podcast. So I'm doing a new segment on the podcast at the very end called William's Top 5. And every week it'll be something different. So this week it was my top 5 favorite fall things. So in the chat, I want you to just put like what was one of the top 5 that I did for fall things. Okay. All right, Fernando, Ricardo got one. So what else? Camilla's got it. Everybody's focused on the number one thing I said. Okay. Camilla got something different. Cool. Thanks. You don't have to remember, Aaron, it's not watching. It's for a podcast. It's just you're listening to it. Okay. And remember, make sure you guys have your reminds set up too, because I sent you guys several remind messages on listening to it. Okay. That wasn't the top 5. That was actually Ryan. That was towards the beginning more, but I did make a dish that was similar to lasagna. So yeah. All right. So top 5, number 1. Most people got was soup. And again, I know that seems strange, but you know what? I love soup and I love being able to have that. But again, it's, people think you're weird if you eat soup during the summer, even though I totally would, but I feel like there's a social like judgment. And the rest of them aren't in order. Just number 1 was soup, but number 2 was wearing a jacket. I like wearing jackets. Number 3, people got it, was the change in weather. So again, I don't feel like I'm going to die. Number 4 was apple cider, because apple cider is delicious and you can really only get it during this time of the year. And then number 5 was fire. And again, not like fire like creating giant, state fires that are like destroying our forests, but like more like bonfire, or like I have a fire pit in the backyard. So smaller, more contained fires. But yes, we did that for Halloween. My great grandma, who passed away this year, unfortunately, normally we would go to her house for Halloween, but 1, she passed away. 2, we're in a pandemic. So unfortunately, that was something that we just did ourselves this year. We'll like roast hot dogs over the fire and stuff like that, and just kind of all hang out together. So it's more of a sentimental thing for me this year too, the whole like building the fire. So that was kind of nice that we got to do that as a family. So my kids enjoyed it for sure. But anyway, so the point of listening to the podcast obviously wasn't just to do the top 5. I mean, that's something that I'm going to do every week. Towards the end of the episode, again, obviously you need to listen to the whole episode, because next week there will be a quiz on the podcast that you listen to. So make sure that you guys are listening to it, because I want you guys to get the information from the podcast. So what was some of the things that I talked about in the podcast, other than my personal information, like the actual like English focus stuff? What was some of the stuff that we talked about? And I'm going to go ahead, and before you start responding, I'm going to open it up to where everybody can see your chat. So what kind of stuff did I talk about in the podcast that was related to English? Again, if you don't want to type, you could always unmute if that's easier, quicker for you. But if you want to type it out, you can. So Fernando, you're really close. So yes, a story that we are going to read, but where I did talk about the trial. That's just another story that the author wrote. We're actually not reading that. We're reading a story called The Metamorphosis. Does anybody remember the author's name, though, of The Metamorphosis and the trial? Okay, so I talked about the term Kafkaesque. Good, Ricardo. That's awesome. So Kafkaesque is a term that's based off of the author's last name, so that should kind of give you guys a little bit of a hint of the author's name. It was Franz. Good, Mia. Yes, his father was very cruel to him, and he was a sickly child. Nice. Okay, keep it coming, guys. You guys are doing good. Let's get more stuff from what we listened to. I did talk about the story a little bit in the background of the author, so that's good. All right, so today what we are going to be doing is going to be kind of building off of some of the information that we already talked about in the podcast. So what you guys are going to be doing, and I'm going to change my screen one more time once I get to the right place. Okay, what week are we? Week 11. There we go. All right, changing screens. Okay, so we are in week 11. So if you guys, again, look at Tuesday, you guys, the Anne of Clay Brief Write final draft is going to be due next Tuesday. So you guys have a week to complete it, or you had a week when I assigned it. So you guys still have basically this weekend. Just a reminder, too, that Monday is a different schedule. You guys will not have a late start on Monday. So Wednesday is you guys have the day off, so you will not have any class on Wednesday because it's Veterans Day. And so in order, because we didn't want to lose time from those classes who normally would have it, so 246. So whatever class you have on 246, you are going to have on Monday, and it'll start at 8:45 like normal. So yes, I'm sorry you guys are losing your late start. Not that sorry for me because I would have had to been up at the same time anyways. But on Wednesday, at least we all get the day off, so we'll get a break, and that'll be nice, right? So we'll get Wednesday off, and then but Monday, don't wait till 10 o'clock. Go to your second period at 8:45. Anyways, getting back to this week's module though, make sure that again our final drafts are going to be due the following Tuesday. Again, to get your points back that you lost this morning, you need to resubmit. Ooh, I almost slipped up and said something I didn't want to say there. Resubmit your screenshots of your YouTube and podcast. So just make sure you guys do that. And then meet Franz Kafka. This is what you guys are going to be doing in class today. Once you finish this, again, I'm going to put you guys in breakout rooms. Once you're completely done with this, you guys will be good to go. And then the only homework you have over the weekend is revising your final draft. Now, I do want to talk about the final draft a little bit. So when I have you guys submit final drafts, this is the first one that is going to be mandatory for you guys. I do require that you change your rough draft. So if you resubmit the rough draft as your final draft, again, they're not supposed to be the same. That's why they're named different drafts. So nobody writes a perfect writing. Professional authors have to have editors change what they wrote for books, for manuscripts, whatever. So unfortunately, nobody here in class, including myself, is at the level of a professional author. So when I write stuff out, I always have my wife, who, in all honesty, is probably a better writer than I am. So in fact, I know she is because she majored in creative writing. But I always have her look over my writing to make sure that it's good. And if there's any tweaks, she always gives me feedback about what do I need to fix. So you need to have at least 10% of your brief write be different from your rough draft. And Unicheck, the plagiarism checker that we use on Canvas now, will check for that. So When I say 10%, what does that look like? Well, you guys wrote about 10 sentences, right? So how many sentences would be 10% of 10 sentences? Alexander, so the feedback that you should be able to find, it's where I leave you, where you see the comments from me. You should also see comments from the other person as well. So if you just go to the assignment and where you see my comments for your rough draft, because I did leave you all rough draft comments as well, you should be able to see the other person's. If not, you at least have mine, so you have something to work with. But hopefully you got extra feedback from somebody else from either this class or my fifth period class. And if they didn't leave you feedback, and that will impact their final draft score, because out of the 50 points, 10 of the points are that you revised somebody else's or gave feedback to somebody else. So do make sure that you guys have done that. And it's not one of those things that you can do like after everybody's done with their final draft, because if you give feedback to somebody and they've already done a final draft, that doesn't help them. So you're not going to get points for that. So make sure that you do it today if you haven't already done it. If you are late on your rough draft, we will work something out so that way we can figure out a way for you to get the points back. But anyway, so just make sure that you guys are taking care of that. Make sure that you're revising it. So I was asking earlier, what is 10% of 10 sentences? I know this isn't a math class, but this should be pretty basic, right? You just take away the 0 when you do 10%. So how many sentences? Come on, guys. I just need you to type in a number. Show me you're alive. Show me you have a pulse. All right, we got a number. Let's see if we can get other people. Until then, I will whistle annoyingly. Oh, that was bad. The question was, what is 10% of 10 sentences? Hallelujah, we got basic math. Most of us. Some of us, we're struggling a bit, but that's okay. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not your math teacher. I'll let them judge you. 10% of 10 sentences is one sentence. Remember, if you ever need to figure out 10%, it's like the most basic math, the only math that I can do. You just take away the 0. So 10% of 100, 10. 10% of 1,000, 100. So, oh, please don't use a calculator. Come on, it's 10%. You just take away a 0. That's all you have to do. 10% of 30, 3. You just have to do that. It's okay. I promise I wouldn't judge. No. So if I need you to change 10% of your sentences, that means at least one sentence needs to be completely different. Maybe that's because, remember, there was 3 categories: adding, removing, and changing. So did you add a sentence? If you've added something, removed something, and changed something, like again, what I want you all to do in your writing, because those are the 3 things that you guys should be focused on. That's what, if you do that, you should get to the 10% easily. If you're changing 1 or 2 words, you're not going to get that, and I'm going to ask you to make more changes. So please focus on making it better. Really focus on your explanations, topic, sentence, and transition. The quotes should be pretty easy and self-explanatory because we all found them together. So really focus on the parts where you did your own words, okay? Okay, that being said, the last part that I'm going to move on to, and I am going to be putting you guys out in breakout rooms, and of course it logged me out. So you guys are going to be in breakout rooms, and once you guys are in the breakout rooms, you guys are going to be watching this video. It's more information about Franz Kafka, and especially for those of you who didn't listen to the podcast, this is going to be helpful. For those of you who did listen to the podcast, there will be a slightly more information in this, but it also, you'll probably do better on this because it is a quiz. So just like Edpuzzle, you're going to watch it. As you watch it, questions will randomly pop up, and you are going to answer those questions, and they're all going to be about Franz Kafka. the author of Metamorphosis, which we are going to read next week. Metamorphosis is going to be the last story we read this semester. After we are done with Metamorphosis, which we are going to be working on for a couple weeks, because even though it's a graphic novel, it is longer, the longest thing that we've read so far. But it is a comic, so we should be able to knock it out in a couple of weeks. After that, we are going to be working on our final essay for the semester. And so, as you can tell, we are running out of time as far as bringing our grades up. So, if you are behind in your grades, you need to make sure that you are looking at any of the other brief writes we've done, the podcasts we've recorded, the annotations that we've done. Those are the main things that are going to bring your grade up. So, please make sure you're doing that. And if you have questions, again, I am available. Please send me remind messages. I will even get on a Zoom call with you if you want to schedule a time, so that way I can help you out if you need it. Okay, so I am here for you guys to make sure that you guys are successful. So anyways, so I'll put you in your breakout rooms, watch the video, answer the questions. Once you're done with it, call me to your room. I'll check to make sure you're done. I'll excuse you. If you leave early, again, you will be marked absent and you will lose points for participating today. But aside from that, the only other homework you're going to have is the final draft. So what questions do you guys have for me before I split